Well, it's good to speak with you, Ulrik. I look forward to hearing your views on internet logistics and things on the internet. Can you start by providing a brief background of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Also nice to speak to you, Dustin. So my name is Ulrik Topp, and I've been in the logistic industry since I was born. Initially, I did my grounds in the shipping industry and freight forwarding, very much with a trade between Asia Pacific and Europe. Got very interested in the whole door-to-door concept and the simplicity of that towards customers. So got engaged in the integrators, started TNT in Denmark, my home country, and then went up also and started them up in Norway, one of our neighboring countries. But since then joined DHL and spent 21 years in DHL in different divisions within the company. And have always in that context been very interested in the simplicity and in the ease of use for customers. Hence, of course, that when emerging the whole internet, that have of course also intrigued me in terms of how to make sure that consumers are getting a fair deal and have transparency and that transportation is not a headache, but just facilitated to get the goods that they're ordering.
Can you talk about what is internet logistics?
The internet logistics, I guess, is starting from the very basic that you as a consumer decides not to go down to the shop, but that it's more convenient for you to look at the goods that you want to buy on the internet. And classically that started off, of course, with the different shops within your own country were offering goods on the internet. eBay come about and so on and so forth. But more and more also, people in Europe might want to shop in the US or in China. And then the internet logistics for me is very much the facilitation in the background to help that consumer to get what he's ordering on the internet home safe to him and with no surprises, if you like. The classical surprises is, of course, that internet providers are not making it clear that there might be some customs and duties to pay, or the transit time that people are expecting. Oh, yeah, I'm going to a wedding, next weekend, and the goods would be delivered the following week. So that's kind of what I define an internet logistic is very much facilitating this so the consumer gets the goods how he wants it.
And where have you seen some good examples of internet logistics in operation?
Yeah, no, this is the difficult bit because what also is happening is, of course, that internet logistics is very much making the need for what we in logistics call the B2C, so the consumer delivery of a much higher need, and many companies and carriers do not really like to deliver to a consumer because maybe the consumer is not at home, so it's difficult to deliver to that consumer and so on and so forth. So it's very much in small pockets. There's no doubt that physical borders are making it more difficult. But in the US there are models both by UPS and FedEx, which is very successful. But seeing a cross-border successful internet logistic solution is far between.
And how would a carrier carry out internet logistics successfully?
Yeah, the successful component really starts with a transparency vis-a-vis the consumer when he's ordering, and that transparency very much starts with making the consumer aware that there is taxes and duties potentially to be paid, and thereby having calculation engines there is looking at the merchandise that the consumer have bought. Let's say that it's a T-shirt, and see whether there's any taxes and duties. There are some minimum values, so sometimes you are below that minimum value, so there's no taxes and duties that do apply. But that's transparency. That's really, in my mind, the starting point. That you're making that clear to the consumer. And then, a little bit like with domestic deliveries, that you also give the customers a choice between maybe a mail option, which because it's not urgent, I just wanted to get to me, up to an express option because I need it tomorrow. So giving those options throughout is what makes a good internet logistics offer to the consumer. One of the key difficulties for many carriers is actually to manage in a cost-efficient way this whole, providing the VAT and duties in advance and making sure that that's actually also executed in a rapid way when you are importing it into the country.
How do you see the consumer buying behavior? Are there any trends or things taking place that will affect how internet logistics will be done?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that the demand is increasing, and it's probably increasing a little bit artificially. We all know that there's the hype around the iPhones coming out, and they launched them first in the US. So everyone else in the world is trying, using their most imaginative way, and finding people that are offering an internet logistic type solution to get the iPhone, for instance, to Germany. So you are the first one to get it. And the other trend is, of course, also the price differences. So the pricing umbrellas that many of the global brands are protecting, in terms of that they can charge maybe for an iPhone more in Europe than in the US. So as long as those barriers are still around, then internet logistics is increasing, and it's probably the main area is growing, and it's in double digits.
Well, thank you for sharing your views on the web or internet logistics. Do you have any final recommendations?
Yeah, no, I think the final recommendations is very much for carriers and providers really to take the consumer needs serious and understand that they need to develop an offering, and really invest in that. This is something that is here to stay and are not going away. So they need to invest in this to serve the future customers.
Great, thank you.
All right.